y'all. Hey, welcome to yet another edition of the Cookout. Get your booties in here because we've got some things to talk about. So, today's episode, we are going to discuss Jeffrey Epstein. So, if you have been under a rock, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Jeffrey Epstein is this gentleman who supposedly killed himself in prison. And he was prosecuted for operating a huge, and when I say huge, children's, underage women trafficking ring. And his way of moving and his way of gaining control really parallels to Diddy. And it's no coincidence that they were in the same atmosphere, in the same circles, connecting with the same type of people, right? So you are seeing a lot of what Diddy's behaviors turned out to be was him copying a blueprint for power, blackmail, and control. So it has been discovered that Jeffrey Epstein possibly, allegedly, was a secret operative agent the entire time. And no one ever knew where he got his power, where he got his wealth, where he got his esteem from, and they just made up a story. But it has been brought to light, allegedly, that he was a secret informant. And so he has been blackmailing government officials and politicians in America. So all of the time that we're doing all of this fighting and this working to get laws changed, to get things passed, we've been running into a brick wall. And this Epstein case is a huge part of why we have been running into a brick wall. They were not able to pass the laws and do the things that they even wanted to do because they was too busy getting freaky with little people behind doors. Now, it was said that they recovered tens of thousands, not hundreds, not thousands, not 5,000, tens of thousands of video involving underage people. That's what we're going to call them, underage people. So if you haven't wrapped your mind around how huge this is about the children. They have been blackmailed. And there is another entity. I'm not going to get into that because I don't really know the specifics of those. But there is another entity, another country, who Epstein was working for in order to blackmail U.S. politicians and officials. So it's also being looked into the occult narrative. And if you go down, all the way down, you will see a video that I went into extreme detail 2 years ago, about the elites, the occult, the Illuminati, the worship. What is being discovered is all the while they are pushing you to be religious and be a good person and to follow the rules. They're breaking the rules. They are participating in sick rituals. There was a time that I was speaking about all of these things and people just thought I was batshit crazy. They thought I was just a weird ass conspiracy theorist talking about all this weird stuff. Come to find out, it wasn't so weird after all. I'm talking about really sick, twisted things that are anything but religious and according to what we know religion to be. So I speak a lot on this page about us as a culture having our own system because this system is doing what it was designed to do, which is hold us back. And as we're seeing now with this Epstein and all of these other things, Bible prophecy come to pass of what's done in the dark shall come to the light. And if you just keep fighting the good fight, that eventually things will have to change. So we could possibly be on the precipice of a huge shift if the people continue to press to get these Epstein files released. Now, we like to move on to the next thing. They bring up a subject, we say we demand results, we demand that you show us those Epstein files, and then they drop the new story and we're on to the next. So what I need all you cousins to do is to make sure that you are pushing for these Epstein files to be released. Trump is now trying to gaslight. We need to know who in these offices are participating in behaviors abusing children. Tens of thousands. As we talk about strengthening our community and moving forward, these are things that we need to know. We need to know who of us and who that has been representing us and who that has been presenting to us that they are for us, by us, helping us. We need to know who is in those files. Only the truth shall set you free. I would beseech each and every one of you to really start paying attention to what's going on, because we are at a pivotal place in history. And these are the types of occurrences that we have been praying for. We need a shakeup in the system. So I want us to really be mindful. And when these names start dropping, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. If it is your favorite, you need to have some accountability. We cannot afford to have people who are going to be so thirsty for fame, so thirsty for fame. If you remember in previous episodes, I spoke about in order for us to move forward as a culture, we must first establish our identity. A lot of us have identity crisis. A lot of us don't know who we are, so we can't be proud of what we are, and we can't build towards anything because we don't know who we are. So you have people who are so hungry and thirsty to be accepted. Anything, the love of money is the root of all evil. So you have these people who you thought were so talented, you thought were so smart, that could possibly be now on these Epstein files. That's where our focus should be right now. So I just wanted to bring it to the cousins' attention. Do what you will with this information, but this all fits together. And we need to put these pieces together. So another thing that I also want to discuss is activism. So if you're not aware, my daughter is currently in London studying for her thesis, studying for her master's degree, and she is studying joy and resistance in the Black diaspora. So she is going to be conducting interviews and sit downs with several people over in London and discussing their Black joy and their resistance through music and a number of other things. So she and I talk often. She actually got me this outfit this summer when she went to India, so shout out to Micah. But she and I got into the conversation yesterday about activism. And so she was saying, well, Mom, I know you're always talking about activism and marching is just not enough, but some people don't have resources. Some people, all they can do is get off work a day or set this date on their calendar that they are going to be able to the march. I was also speaking to her about us not doing our due diligence when we just show up for something that we've seen online or we just want to be a part of something, and not being aware that a lot of time, a lot of these marches and a lot of these programs that are being set up for us to come and protest actually have people on the other side of the aisle organizing them. A lot of these protests have white organizers, right? These are the people saying, okay, fine, y'all are upset, you want to march, you can march in this area for this amount of time, but this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. How is that a protest? So we need to really be mindful of who's organizing these protests, who is getting these things together, because that really makes the difference. They don't care about us marching. They know we're going to do that. They know we're going to protest. In fact, that's what they want. They want us to get our t-shirts, get our posters, and go out there and march, because marching itself doesn't do anything. And a lot of the time they know that it's not going to go any further than that. So if you are a person who feels that just because you went to a couple protests, you were really doing your part. So that's when she started telling me about, okay, Mom, well, some people don't have resources, and they don't know that these marchers are being organized by white people, and they don't know this and they don't know that. And I was just like, baby, I'm tired of the excuses. There is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get on your phone and Google and look up the information and find out who's organizing these marches and find out what it's really all about. There's no excuse for that. And so that led me into the conversation of, what is activism really? So activism should be a lifestyle. You may not have money to contribute to the cause. You might not be able to get off work. But what you can do, live your life as if a camera were on you at a march. If you meet me and you have a conversation with me, or if you're even in a room with me for a period of time, you are going to be well aware of where I stand. You are going to be well aware, because it is my very essence. Everything about me says I want our people to win, to be successful, because I believe we are the people of God. And there is no doubt in my mind. And so I carry myself as if I am a child of God, and I deserve royal treatment because I am the child of royalty. And so that is my stance. And I will shout it from the mountaintops, how I feel about our culture and how I feel about our people. So it doesn't have to be a specific thing. Your life should represent your activism. You should not be upset about what's going on only when eyes are watching you. You should not be upset only when there's a camera on you. You should not be upset only when you're out in the streets and everybody else is upset. And it's not even just about being angry. It's about being proud. You know, activism is not just about fighting. Activism is showing up proud in your light. You could be singing, you could be dancing, you could be having dinner with friends. No matter what you do, your joy in being black is your activism. You really underestimate the power of being in spaces around people who are not black, and you showing up with complete joy, complete alignment. That in itself is activism, because they don't expect you to be happy. They don't expect you to be joyful. So when they see you out and about and you are just enjoying being black, that is activism in itself. So there really is no excuse of what you can and can't do. You know, we come up with all of these excuses, but your life should be a living testament of activism. You should be actively proud. You should be actively showing up, because you should be letting your light shine, so that when other people see you, especially younger people, when younger people see you, that should make them want to be proud of being black. That should be the example. But we'd rather put people with BBLs on display. That's not activism. Actually, it's self-hate. What we've done is we've put all these self-hating images out for our young people to see and emulate. That's what I mean when I say your lifestyle should be a lifestyle of activism. Now, if you want to do more, then by all means. But the very least you can do is live a life that shows that you know who you are, and that is unapologetic, it is unmistakable. And that's just the way I feel about that. So I leave you with this question. Are you making excuses for not being actively involved? Are you making excuses as to what you can and can't do? There's always something you can do. And when you master that, then you can do more. But the very least, at the bare minimum, your life should be living proof. Because other than that, what are we fighting for? If we're ashamed of our hair, if we're ashamed of our bodies, if we're ashamed of our eyelashes, if we're ashamed of our skin, then what is the point of fighting for being black? Why would you want to fight for something that you don't even want to be? Make it make sense. So until the next time, thank you, cousins, for joining me here on the Cookout.